Mr Davies. Mr Jolly.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Just to follow on from what Mark's been saying, I think, one of the big things that Mark's said and that I would sort of support as well is that I think there needs to be more research done on possible other locations of a cell phone tower that would serve the community and the area that at the moment is in shadow, if you like. This is what 2 Degrees are telling us at the meeting that we had with them up at the reservoir site, that they need it there because there is an area beneath Taupo View Road basically that is in the shadow, and a tower in that location would solve that problem. That may be the case, but there are alternatives. We know that one of the alternatives is potentially putting smaller towers on telephone poles around the streets, but the other alternative in talking to radio technicians is that they could be further afield, like on Mosquito Hill or back up on the side of Tauhara by the big TDC reservoir there. On elevated points, sure, the tower would have to be much higher, would be more expensive, but potentially, possibly not that much more expensive than a whole heap of little towers put down streets. Now, I'm sure that you as residents don't want to see a proliferation of these masts on telephone poles or power poles along our streets, because they're unsightly. All new subdivisions, as you know, have underground servicing. Various reasons for that, but one of the most obvious is that they're an eyesore, if you like, in our streets. So I think that needs to be investigated, and really price, to my way of thinking, doesn't come into it when you're talking about the amenity of the environment that we're living in. And that would be my number one issue, really, that we need to go back to 2 Degrees and say, is this an option? If it is, investigate it and perhaps move forward from there. You've all probably got copies of the letter that I wrote to Alison Rawley and also copied to 2 Degrees, and I'll just quickly touch on a few of those points, which Mark's already touched on anyway, some of them. The first one was that any form of cell phone tower on the land up behind us will impact on property values, irrespective of whether the health risk and associated other problems with it is real or perceived. There are very real concerns about the health of local residents due to the radiation from the aerial. The level of radiation from the mast is purported to fall within the New Zealand standard. We know that, we've been told that. However, there is mounting evidence worldwide that there are very real health effects from this type of radiation. I've attached several papers, which I hope you've got, and I've got another one here which I can hand out. The detailed scientific studies that have been made. I don't think we should bury our heads in the sand at this stage on this one and wait for our communities to suffer the effects. The problem with some of these radiation effects is that they are potentially accumulative over time, and really, do we really want to be guinea pigs in the whole process, and 20 years down the track say, oh, weren't we dumb, going through the whole sort of same sort of thing as we did with DDT and cigarette smoke, if you like. The mechanism for which cigarette smoke caused cancer wasn't actually known for a long time, although it was realised that people were dying of cancer. I'll hand out a paper shortly which goes into the effects on wildlife. Wildlife are very easy to monitor, and they don't have any preconceived ideas about the impact of EMF radiation and things on them. So, you know, if you can monitor them and see what happens to them, you're getting a very good idea about the effects of these things. I'll hand that out at the end if you like, and it's really just, don't expect you to read it now obviously, but I mean it's there if you want to read it later on. There's a few things it's probably worth reading the abstract. Oh, thank you.
Is there any questions that the councillors would like to put to us?
Well, probably not really, because we agreed to have a 15-minute presentation. We've got a big agenda to get through today. Agenda item, I think it's number 12, which we've told everybody I will move around to suit around. Apparently 2 degrees are coming. And we'll move it to about 2:15. Everybody was told we would hear it around about 2:15. So the resolution we've got here today, agenda item number 1, is just to thank you for the information be received, and the Taupo Street residents be thanked for their presentation. So if you've got anything further to present, we'll make a decision when we get to item number 12 whether we allow any further speaking rights, but we probably, as councillors, will be asking questions of the 2 degrees people.
Okay. Well,
so I think,
thank
to
you.
be fair and honest and without being belittling, you have got your point across.
Yep.
Councillors have been talking about it a lot. So I think in the interest of time, and when we'll get at 2:15, what's wrong? 2 degrees out here. Yes, I know, but our staff have told a lot of people that we'll be hearing this, Mr. Williams, at 2:15 today. So I will move the agenda around so that those people that think it's happening at 2:15 are here as well.
So we really appreciate that, and we will stay, and if there is questions councillors have of us after their presentation, we'll be available.
Yeah, well, I think that's fairness. I just want to point out, though, also that let's be quite clear that when 2 degrees came to council and asked them if they could lease some land to put up the mast, our only resolution said that they were to go out and consult with the people. So I hope that's been an open and honest and transparent thing that we did, because that's the only way forward as far as I can see. So if I've got a mover and a seconder out here, we will just thank you for the information being received. And we'll, sorry, Ben.
Can I just ask a question?
Heckley? Oh, too many workshops.
Yeah. Are you representing all the residents that's put in letters, or is there any other person that would like to speak? Or
No, Steve and I have been given the authority on behalf of the residents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as I said, if we could have a mover and a seconder to receive the information from the Taupo Street residents. A mover, please. Move, Councillor.
Thank you.
Second, Councillor Hickling. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.